And here we are. And we'll give everybody the cursory 30 seconds that we always do to let them show up once they get their notifications. Let the cat come over and sit because she's working on that. Come on. 15. We might have new people today. As the road keeps falling open. Where's my time? All right. Still not used to this. 3, 2, 1. Good morning, everybody, and welcome. Today is Monday. It's July 26th, 2021. My name is Jeremy, and this is my first cup of coffee. Come sit. There's a cat. For those of you that are new, there's a cat. Oh, that's too warm. That's too warm. Coffee's too warm. Oh, well, how are you? I want to welcome all of the Facebook viewers who are coming in, and of course, everybody who's watching later on. This is our first time ever broadcasting this show on Facebook. Wow, big deal. Frank and I talked about this a few weeks ago and put all the pieces in place and grabbed some new software and tested it out last week, and it worked okay. Oh, you can see the ear. Your ear is on camera. And so we're giving it a shot. We're going to see what happens. If you're watching, feel free, jump in the chat, ask things. We have a pretty loose format here. And yeah, we do this every day. To those of you who've been longtime viewers, whether in person, there's nobody in here, live or later on, thanks for your support on this show. You probably have a cup of something as you're watching. You know, this is coffee. This is my this is the Starbucks roast from Costco because it's a good coffee. It's kind of dark, not too dark. It's pretty good, and it's not that expensive. Can you hear that? What are you doing, goofball? Lay down. Lay down. Oh, well, how was your weekend? I had a pretty good weekend. I went to Maine, a little bit of travel Saturday, took care of some family stuff. If you follow me personally on Instagram, you saw what that family stuff was. Spent a little bit of time with some friends, came back yesterday and just kind of cleaned the car out and hung out, went to bed at a reasonable hour. Definitely did not clean up the house. House is kind of messy. But hi, Chris. Good morning. I think we're going to get some new people today. And, you know, I've spent a lot of time thinking about this show and what it's like for new people coming in because it's kind of a weird format. You know, I sit here, I'm in a bathrobe, I'm drinking coffee, I'm talking about my day, and then people who are in the chat ask me follow-up questions or, you know, we kind of relate things back to martial arts. It's the whole premise of what we do on this show. Not everything relates back to martial arts. Of all the things that we do here at Whistlekick, this is probably the most personal, the most behind the scenes, because some of you want that. Some of you want to know what's going on. Good morning, Liz. Some of you want to know what's going on with me. Some of you want to know what's going on with Whistlekick. You know, for example, this is the show where I mentioned, hey, I made a TikTok video about this. Actually, here's a good example. Over the weekend, somebody who has quite a few followers, especially compared to my TikTok account, saw a video I put up on Friday. And if you're on TikTok, you know the term duet. They duetted that video to lend support. And so sent a bunch of views and a bunch of followers over my way. It was really cool. So thank you to that man who I do not know. It's a really interesting platform. Getting some love. And then what's going on today? Today's an interesting day. Had some client meetings cancel. The weather says it's going to be hot, but it's not. Yeah, it looks. Actually, that's not true. I had trouble sleeping. It was kind of warm when I went to bed. And as you may have heard, couple moments ago, some of the people on my road drive really loud vehicles, so I can't leave the window in the bedroom open, which frustrates me. I would like it to be quieter at night, but you know, it takes all kinds. So we could say that about martial arts, can't we? It takes all kinds. There are plenty of people out there who just throw shade everywhere. And this is something I'm thinking about a lot because of TikTok, because there's a formula to get big on TikTok, and it's really about creating, well, it's one of two things. It's riding the line of indecency per TikTok's terms of service. Couldn't find that word. This is what happens when you try to speak articulately before coffee. Or you create controversy. And so there are a bunch of people out there who are just, here's what I hate about this martial art. And people watch and they comment. And what's really disappointing is as those people get bigger and bigger, the people who start following them think that they're authoritative. They think that they know things. Let me say it definitively. The number of people who pay attention to you on social media has nothing to do with your experience or credibility or skill or any other measurable aspect of martial arts training. None whatsoever. And I don't say that because we do or don't have any kind of a following. We do not have the biggest following, but we don't have the smallest following. Good morning, Stacey. Look at all these people, all these friends hanging out. I look forward to seeing everyone in person. Remember, November 13th, Woodstock High School. There is an event on Facebook for free training day. whistlekick free training day. It is back. I'm super pumped. And I'll spend some time this week figuring some things out around that. And hey, Daniel. Good morning. Daniel's saying hello to everyone. This is why we use this software, because we can do things like this. Isn't that cool? There may be some people listening. In fact, I got an email from Frank over the weekend saying all of a sudden the audio feed, the podcast feed of this show has blown up. I don't know why, but that's cool. Welcome to everybody listening. Have I rambled enough? This is the opening monologue portion of the show where I ramble about yesterday and today. I engage with all of you. Stacy says November 13th booked. Boom. And Gabe says we'll be there. That's awesome. So far, Gabe and Jenny will be the participants coming from the furthest away. I'm super excited. It'll be great to finally meet those guys in person. You know, one of the interesting things about a modern business is you end up with friends and people on the team that you don't meet. We've had people on the team for years. I've never met them. How strange is that? So it is an odd thing, but this is the modern era. This is what we do. Computer, stop trying to tell me the weather. Stacy says, looking forward to meeting you and Jenny. Yeah. All right. Well, here's what we're going to do now. Here's where we shift. Somewhere around 10 minutes, I try to shift and read the comments that people posted in the comment section from the last episode, so Friday's episode. So that's what we're going to do now. I'm going to bring up those. And the reason we do it this way is because I'm not always going to get the comments that are live. And it allows you all to really think about what you're saying. And sometimes it creates a theme. Excuse me. And it also allows people who aren't watching live to ask questions. And sometimes, not usually, but sometimes I'll go and I'll look at them a little bit beforehand and just think about them. So what do we got? Today, we have some comments from Frank. And for those of you who are new to this show, Frank is the producer on the show. I guess technically I'm also a producer on this show. but Frank is a producer on this show, and he makes sure I have content, and he does a bunch of other things, and he's a great guy and a great friend. We had a wonderful conversation on Friday. 95% of it had nothing to do with the show, which is one of my favorite things about chatting with people on the team is I get to stay up with them and what's going on. Good morning, Chris. And Stacy says, U.S. Taekwondo gold for women's flyweight. Oh, I pressed that. Nice. I have not been following the Olympics. Not because I'm intentionally not following the Olympics, but because I haven't tried. I don't even know where I would go to pay attention to the Olympics. NBC's website? Is NBC doing it? I could probably look there. I could probably find a way to stream things. But historically, I have not found the coverage of any of the combative events to be compelling. They spend all their time talking about boring things. So this is where I turn to the comments. And it doesn't mean that I don't engage with people as you comment on here. I still will. Today is Holistic Health Day. And so Frank has 4 quotes from us, from people about health. And I read them, and I respond to them, and I relate them back to martial arts. And sometimes they inspire questions that people ask for tomorrow. And sometimes they inspire questions people ask in the chat. And that's the show. That's what we do. Bottom line, if you don't care what I think about things, you don't like the show. And you've probably already stopped watching. The next major advance in the health of the American people will be determined by what the individual is willing to do for himself. Yes, that's credited to John Knowles. It wasn't that long ago that we as average people just trusted whatever our primary care physician told us about health. If we went in, we were a little overweight, and the doctor said, I want you to do this, we would do that because there wasn't an internet to tell us anything different. But where we are now is we're starting to realize that not all doctors are created equal. Not all medical disciplines are equally appropriate for addressing all problems. I'm going to give you an example, and this is I am not opposed to Western medicine. But let me give you a good example. I know 3 people who had Lyme disease for years that Western medical establishment could not find. In all 3 cases, it was a naturopath who saw the symptoms, developed the theory, ordered the more comprehensive Lyme test, because there's more than one kind of Lyme, discovered it, and put people on a path to recovery. I think it's important that we take control of our own health. No one's ever going to care about your health more than you. No one is going to care about really anything to do with you more than you. So if you show disinterest, you're in trouble. Kind of screwed. Got to care about your health. If you have health challenges, you should be up on the latest science. It takes work. Yeah, it takes work. But that work is worth it if you want to be healthy. If you don't want to be healthy, it's fine. So in response, not to that, but Stacy's comment about Taekwondo, Daniel says, our ladies Taekwondo medal Hope was knocked out in the first round in a big upset. I'm trying to adjust the camera to get that glare off my face. Here we go. Our ladies Taekwondo medal Hope was knocked out in the first round in a big upset. She's been dominant for years. Oh, that's a shame. Bummer. I get pushback when I make statements like this about health. You've got to take control of your own health. And it's always from people who don't take control of anything in their lives. Their whole philosophy is, I'm going to let other people take care of it. How strong is your martial arts training if you just show up and do only and exactly what you're told to do? You don't go home and practice. You don't think about things. You don't put in any effort on your own. You'll do fine. You'll be okay, but you won't be as good as you could be. You wouldn't be as healthy as you could be. Your financial position wouldn't be as good as it could be, right? Everybody's trying to take care of themselves. You should too. Just keep that in mind. Here, if I turn off the banner, you may be able to see the cat. Nope. Her head is right. Nope, it's a little low. Throw that one. We are destroying the world's greatest pharmacy. It is very important that we protect the rainforest in everything that we do. Chris Kilham. I don't know Chris, but I agree. I don't know the statistics on this, but quite a few of the modern pharmaceutical interventions are the result of discovering new plants, new compounds in nature. And the place that we have spent the least amount of time essentially mining for these things is the rainforest. And as it gets demolished, plants and fungus and bacteria that we maybe could have used that we didn't even know about are going extinct. It's a shame. I don't remember the data, but there are estimates as to how many species we have yet to discover, and it's a really large number. We like to think that, human beings, we know it all. We're good to go. Yeah. What about in the ocean? What about deep in the ocean? We know more about the moon than we know about the ocean, like the really deep parts. Keep that in mind. Some crosstalk going on in the chat. I like that. Nice. People in the US are more cranked up on pharmaceutical drugs than any other culture in the world today. I want people using safer medicine, and that means plant medicine. Again, from Chris Kilham. There is a time and a place for medication. I'm not opposed to medication. I am opposed to medication being the end of the road. Medication's a tool in the same way that practicing freeform martial arts technique at half speed is a tool. It helps you understand things, helps you see what's going on, it helps you connect dots. But if you're not looking for how to move forward, increase the speed, better develop your technique, and solve the problems, because what happens when most people go fast? They do the same thing over and over and over again. Oh, let's practice. Okay, I want to make sure that I step out of the way of that technique when I see it coming. And you never do. You always do the same thing. Well, that's a sign you've got to go back and work on it at a slower speed. You have to develop that confidence. I think that's what most medications are. It's a tool. Okay, this makes things right, or at least reduces the symptoms. That buys us some time. Now let's address the cause. Because remember, medications never address the cause. They address the symptoms. It's not really a sustainable way to address things. If you're happy with it, that's fine. There are plenty of people who are. I'm not. I like to fix things. I like to solve problems. You probably knew that about me. Coffee came out good. I wasn't sure if she was going to be here when I got back. She's very old. For those of you who don't know, this cat is 21 and a half now. And she barely eats. Over the course of the weekend, she probably ate a quarter to a third of what a cat her size, not weight, but her size should be eating. If she was younger, it'd be a fifth. So I don't mind when she crashes the show when she sits on my lap. It's all right. Let me go one more. There's one more quote here. Before I read it, I want to thank everyone. Thanks for watching. Thanks for coming by, whether it was live or later or audio. If you're new to what we do here, if you're new coming in on Facebook, not every show is the same. Some of them are different. I'm different on different mornings. There are days I wake up and I'm just like, woo, I'm raring to go, tons of energy. And then there are other mornings where I'm dragging and I can barely string words together. And I suspect that the people who watch routinely would tell you that that's some of the fun of the show. So you're never quite sure what you're going to get. And then you couple that with the variety of subjects that come up live and also from the previous comments. And again, you never know what you're going to get. So we have shows that are really interesting, really compelling, and 30 minutes comes and goes like a flash. And then we have other shows that I end 20 minutes in because I'm rambling and not coherent. And then we try again tomorrow. Because that's life, that's training. Every day is not the best day. Every day is not great. And that's okay. And I just dripped coffee on my ankle. That's sad. Stacy says we love Kitty too. Sometimes she makes an appearance such that you can all see her. There are plenty of photos of her. All right. So let's take a look at this last one here. And remember, so Facebook and YouTube. If you're coming in on the YouTube side, know that a lot of our podcast episodes lately, it's Monday. Before we do that, let's see, is the episode up? It is. Dr. Jamie Seabrook. So here's an episode. We have not started doing guest interviews in video, with the exception of one somewhat recently we did. But we're doing more with the Thursday shows and our other content in video. So if you aren't checking out our YouTube channel, you should, for those of you coming in on the Facebook side. If you do, make sure you check out this episode with Dr. Seabrook. Oh, and then Stacy wants me to remind you all that we have End Fun Day Friday, where there are jokes. Usually it's Frank giving us a pile of his patented style of humor, but sometimes others chip in jokes. Stacy's chipped in a joke or two in the past. I don't make jokes. Not that style. I'm not awake enough for jokes. But yeah, check out Dr. Seabrook's episode. Let me know what you think. Especially to those of you on Facebook. One of the things that we're trying to do is we're trying to get more conversation going in the behind the scenes group. So there's a good chance that if you are watching the show and you're a Facebook viewer, that you are part of the Martial Arts Radio behind the scenes group. If you are, when Andrew posts in there, hey, here's the episode, go listen to the episode. And I don't care if it's an hour later or 3 weeks later, go in, find that post and ask a question, because the guest is usually part of the group. That's one of the things that we send them is, hey, come join this group. Sometimes people ask questions. Where else do you get the opportunity to engage with that person? You watch TV, some kind of talk show. You don't get to ask that person a question. Maybe you can tweet them or something, and they're probably not going to respond. Like Ralph Macchio not responding to any of my requests to be on the show. That kind of stuff. All right. So our last quote today about holistic health from Andrew Weil, I've argued for years that we do not have a healthcare system in America. We have a disease management system, one that depends on ruinously expensive drugs and surgeries that treat health conditions after they manifest, rather than giving our citizens simple diet, lifestyle, and therapeutic tools to keep them healthy. Well, you can probably guess my perspective on that. I agree. Until we connect the outcome we want with the incentives that motivate people, it won't change. Now, what about this from a martial arts perspective? This relates very easily to self-defense. Prevention versus mitigation. We spend the majority of our time in martial arts talking about mitigation, how to win a fight, how to extract yourself from a fight. How about how to prevent a fight? It's not nearly as sexy of a topic, is it? And yet it's so much more important. Don't get into fights. But if you have to fight, make sure you're safe. Kind of another way of the famous Miyagi quote, best not fight if fight win. I think I'm getting that one right. And I think that's Karate Kid 2. Somebody will check me on that. As martial arts instructors, and even just practitioners, we have to put more time into avoidance, awareness, having enough confidence to walk away, all these things. We don't, but we need to. And if we have people that look to us, we need to be teaching those things. We need to be prioritizing those things, because there is only one way to win a fight, and that's to prevent it from ever happening. If you are someone who gets into a fight and you enjoy it, there's a problem. If you get into a fight and you don't get touched at all and you harm someone else in order to escape from that fight, and you don't feel remorse, there's something wrong. Because there was an opportunity to not get into that fight. Maybe not an easy one, maybe not one that you saw initially, but it was there. And as an industry, this is one of my biggest complaints, is I see very little material being put out. Okay, here's a drill to get better at being aware of what's going on. We started doing drills like that. What was it? 15, 16, I did an episode. It was like 10 ways to practice martial arts in the car. And one of them was an awareness drill and a prediction drill. These are things that matter. These are the things I want to see change. So I talk about them. And I hope that you talk about them. And I hope you bring them back to your school. And I hope that 20 years from now, somebody stops me on the street and says, hey, we spent all last night talking about avoidance and extraction and prevention for street defense. That would make me really happy. Okay. Thanks for watching or listening, live or later on. It's all good. We're going to keep doing this on Facebook. So if you joined us today for the first time, hopefully you'll check it out. I don't mind if you're not here every day. Come when you can. Bring a cup of tea or coffee or, I don't know, your protein shake, whatever it is. You don't have to wear a robe. I wear a robe. You can wear whatever you want. I'm not going to know. But thank you for joining me. Us. Leave me some comments once the show closes over on YouTube. That's where we pull the comments from. Of course, you can also email me, jeremy@whistlekick.com. And you know what? I think we can do this for Facebook too. So if you leave a comment on this recording after the show closes on Facebook, I'll pull from there tomorrow too. We make it to a point where I can't read everybody's comments. That's okay. That would be a good problem to have, and we'll figure it out when we get there. Thanks for watching, everybody. Go check out episode 626, and I will see you tomorrow. Peace.